Welcome wherever you are joining us around Malaysia, or maybe you're just around the corner. This is the most localized and national professional badminton tournament that Malaysia has ever seen. It is the Kopiko Purple League. My name is Jeevan Selvanathan, and today I've been talking you through the action for the last week or so, and today I'm very honored to have with me a badminton analyst, Donald Spears. Donald, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Jeevan. How you doing?
Now, just to introduce Donald, he's a badminton player himself, and he's going to be cutting down the action with me, which I'm really grateful for because there's been so much action, Donald. Let me just ask you first, as we look at the order of play for today, some big names in there, of course, Tony Duikenshuro, as we all know, and well, I mean, that should be a pretty easy first match. I'm interested in seeing what Amprita Yuswandari can do as well. And yeah, Gokap Chan is in there. It should be an interesting first tie. There are two ties. And as we stand for the national anthem, back off this.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please find your seats right
The Nagaraku has been played at the beginning of each of these wonderful match days. So far, it's been 6 of them that have produced this table, and it's already getting very interesting. As I said, Donald, I was just about to ask you, how has the first week been for you looking at that table? What do you think?
I think it's been a fantastic first week. Really, the excitement level in the stadium has been unparalleled. For a new league, there's so much talent. There's so many players coming on to get a chance to show their stuff on a major national scene. That really the excitement level has been very high. And now I think we're starting to see the players and the teams, get their position in the league. So yeah, we've had a couple of matches, and things are starting to become clear about who might be the contenders for the title by the end of the season.
Well, exactly. I mean, we've had 2 near-perfect performances. Puchong United and, of course, Muar City put in 18-4 and an 18-3. And I can tell you now that in all of the setup of the league and the conceptualizing it, nobody thought that was going to happen. So it's already delivered excitement. These are the upcoming fixtures for the second phase of the Purple League. We just took a 2-day break, of course, and after this, there will be another break, the mid-season break. So these are very important ties for the likes of Cheras, of course, Kajang as well, Bangsa Hawks, who are down near the bottom of the table. Muar City and Puchong United get a chance to just consolidate their lead before that break, but that's how it's playing out over the next 3 or 4 days. You can catch all the action live, of course, on Astro Supersport, Astro Arena, and Astro On The Go. And of course, for all the details you want and all the news and views and results, there's a website, because we are in the digital age, and that is www.purpleleague.com. And as you were saying, Donald, it is such an exciting platform. It is the first time it's ever been done. And, these kids that we're watching here right now, they could possibly be, the next champions of Malaysia, because they're being shown fantastic badminton from different levels of badminton players.
Exactly, and they're getting exposures to different playing styles and different levels of competition. For me personally, I came to Malaysia a couple of years ago, but really it's the badminton which keeps me here, because I play every day against a different opponent, and they all bring something different, and there's a huge amount of potential in the strength and depth of the Malaysian scene at the moment.
I'm actually, with that kind of experience you're picking up now, I'm wondering, are we going to see you at the All England at some point? Is there any ambitions to do that?
I will never ever give up my dream of being a top level badminton player, but age is catching up with me, so I'll keep trying, but you might just see me in the commentary box.
This is us now. Donald, just give him a wave. As you can see, I have some company up here in my private box today, and we haven't put the woolies on yet because, as I said, it's quite early in the day, and that might explain. It's still great to see a few fans have turned up. Of course, it's an odd time to start, but all these league matches, and there are so many of them that have to be played. If this is not a badminton event that goes on for 4 days or 6 days or a week, you know, there are sometimes you get super series that are back-to-back, for example. This is a 3-month affair, and therefore, when you start, as you said, identifying the contenders and the powerhouses, it's a bit more difficult in a league format to pull back games and to start climbing up the league, especially with a game as fast as this.
That's right, that's right. And I think the format is helpful in a way because it provides a very focused format over a defined period of time. So this is something interesting. It's new, and it'll be really good to see how it develops over the coming seasons.
Now, if you have just joined us and you are alien to the new format, well, it's possibly one of the most exciting innovations that badminton in Malaysia has seen, and who knows, maybe it'll kick on around Asia as well. Entirely new scoring system, or I suppose different, is there are 6 matches in every tie that's played between the 12 clubs that contribute or consist of the league. And in those 6 matches, men's singles, women's singles, men's doubles, mixed doubles, another men's singles, and another men's doubles. Now, all those points are played to 11, and 11-point games, and of course the best of 5. I will just, we'll just be back after this. We're just going to take a short break. What a nice little montage of both the clubs that are going to be taking on the first of the ties today. Klang United versus Ampang Jaya. Now, as I was saying, if you have just joined us, that new point scoring system to 11 points for each of the 5 games, best of 5. So, you know, as I said, for each of those matches, it's a different. We had one of the managers up here actually in the commentary box last week, and she was talking about Irina Inepseva. She was talking about how it's a sprint to 11 points. It's not the 21-point game where you still have, you know, in the most incredible of comebacks, you still have the chance and the points to come back and win. Here, if you lose your focus for 5-6 minutes, you've lost 6-7 points. And of course, the important points are here in the 11-point system, 7, 8, and 9. They have the psychological damage to the other player, but also if you get there, you know you're that much closer. The equivalent of 17, 18, and 19, obviously. So with this, a lot of players have obviously warmed to it. I think it's only Nyen Tin Men that actually had some comments about it, because I suppose it's just too new, really. But I've loved it. I thought it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think it's great for the fans. I think it's really great for the fans. It gives more important points during the match, and it really builds excitement when someone comes back from 2-0 down to win 3-2. Really, it's really a fantastic, exciting experience for all the fans. But it's interesting that the players that have played on the BWF circuit and the ones that are used to the 21-point system may be the ones that are struggling to cope and adapt. We saw that with the comments by Min, and also Tan Chong Sieng maybe got caught out a little bit by the format.
It's the warming up. It's basically, you know, in a 21-point game, you can afford the first 4 or 5 points to kind of just get your stroke right. Whereas Lee Hyun-il, I was famously, I'm sure by now, really going on about his wonderful achievements in the 08 Olympics and 2012 Olympics, and how it was hardly probable that this young man, so Kopiko, was going to take a game off him, and that's exactly what he did. Simply because, through no fault of Hunil's at all, his game was just as consistent as always. He was just warming up, and the youngster came out, he was 19 years old, smashing it into the corners. Before you knew it, 11 points was done. That's
and again,
a classic example.
That's why the format is such a good one for the young players, because they know that even if they get 1 point in the game, that still contributes to the team performance, which can make a difference at the end of the season. So it's innovative. It's really exciting. So we can't wait to watch the next games coming up here.
Yeah,
today.
and I'm actually the only thing that's missing from this inaugural Purple League is the fact we haven't got a defending champion, and that kind of comes with the turf of being inaugural. I'm looking forward next season to having, you know, the target man, the team that everyone's aiming at. As I said, we've already had 2 pretty good contenders so far, but it hasn't. You know, each club has only played 2 ties so far. In that, though, if you can, so far the trends and the rules have been almost creating themselves, and you can almost see that if any club, win or lose the tie, can take 10 games away from a match day, then you're in a pretty good standing. You're contributing enough throughout the league that you might be able to put in a good performance at the end. Of course, Moa City and Puchong have raced ahead. They're now at 21 and 16 already over 2 ties. So, you know, whether it comes down to the training regimes of the clubs or whether it comes down to just the physical determination to win on the day, they look, Moa City and Puchong United, right now, like the 2 powerhouses. Of course, a lot of trouble for the likes of Jaya and Ampang Hawks, who were at the receiving end of those wonderful performances, and they're now currently facing, if I'm right, minus 19s and around that area in the league. And it's a thing that you're seeing, this wonderful HD blue court with, you know, loads of color and noise everywhere. So it's literally playing big games against big names for some of the youngest players. And these are local badminton clubs. There are 12 districts around Kuala Lumpur, of course, so it's not a question of, well, we turn up at a badminton tournament and, you know, we see the stars when we go home. If you are inspired by these stars, you can then go to that club literally the next day, sign up and start playing badminton.
Get a chance, because and it's noticeable that the players that lost their first matches last week, at least on the singles side, are not playing today. So clearly there's a policy rotation within the teams, and so I think that, again, it's just good signals. You know, if you want to try your skills, you want to join a team, I'm sure the opportunities will come along, and that's the whole point of the league.
Very strongly. Let's hear from you. Welcome to the Kopiko Purple League. We're here at Sports Arena Sentosa. Thank you so much to our sponsors, Astro, Kopiko, Leading Sounds.
All right, and I think you're just joining us. We are at the Sports Arena Sentosa, the official tournament venue for the Kopiko Purple League, into its 2nd phase now. The first phase was more than interesting. It was absolutely enthralling, and it kept all the fans that have traveled to this centrally located place, stadium in KL, just here for incredible hours of badminton. I mean, it's like 8 or 9 hours they've been sitting here and enjoying it, because, as you said, Donald, shorter points, faster points, more exciting, a lot more smashes. And as the lights hit the stadium and the court, we have our teams. Klang United versus Ampang Jaya, our first tie. Moa City versus Chad, our second tie. Ampang Jaya Badminton Club.
All right, now let's bring on the home team, ladies and gentlemen.
And their coach,
Klang United BC. Your captain, Chuli Kamei.
Juan Kam Cheng, team manager Hopek Mong, and their captain Tay Kanyon. Now, we have Klang United Bambi Club. Managed, of course, by the legendary Yap Kim Hok. Coached by Jackie Cheng and the captain Chui Kai Meng. Two contenders for this tie. I'm sure we're about to hear from the managers themselves after a little bit of fair play is respected. And as expected, about to hear from the two men in charge who are on court with JD.
All right, we're down here on the tournament arena floor, and we have the managers here with us. We're going to talk to Ampang Jaya BC team manager, first Ho Keng Mong. Now, the top two teams' games win-loss records are very, very impressive. Muar City, of course. You're in third. Can we expect Ampang Jaya to do even better and leapfrog the top two?
Okay, what I can say is my players have been amazed me so far. They've been playing very well, more than their standard. It's beyond their ability. So I strongly believe that they can do even better for today. And as usual, from the beginning, I do not want to give any pressure to my players. All I want them to do is to play their best and beat and give their very best to the audience.
All right, but a 2 days break that we've had, has it helped your players mentally and physically?
For us, we are always ready. For whether it's mentally and physically, we are always there. So for the 2 days break, we are still having our own daily training, and I'm sure they are even more prepared for today.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Ampang Jaya manager Ho Kek Mong. Right now, let's chat with team manager of Klang United, Yap Kim Hok. Now the thing is, after 2 rounds, Klang United's win record is 25 compared to the top team, which is 34. What is the game plan today?
Yeah, actually we try to put our best lineup today. Yeah, of course our target is to win at least 10 sets for this match. Yep.
But the thing is now, you have a very tough opponent here. Which match do you expect the most trouble from Ampang Jaya?
Yeah, I think we expected one singles and then 2 doubles. Yeah.
So we'll see which one is the better team. Please shake hand one more time. And then may the best team win. Okay, let's do this. Back to you in the iBook Court commentary box.
Well, interesting there, Donald, that we've just talked about that. I've been saying it as well all week. Yap Kim Hok just confirmed it, that the aim for these clubs when they turn up at match day, whether to win or lose, is to take away 10 games, because that's it. And now, as we look at the revised order of play, as Derek Wong is now going to be playing the legend Sony Dwi Kunchura, as Yap Kim Hok said, as very, well, they want to take 10 games away. It's going to be tough in the first two, I can tell you. Sony Dwi Kunchura and Aprilia Yuswandasari, the foreign import players that are in from Indonesia. So definitely Ampang Jaya starting with the big guns, and they'll be looking to pick up more games as well with Go Kiap Chin, who has played well in the second men's singles. They might face some trouble men's doubles and mixed doubles in the middle, but when it comes down to it on paper, remember Ampang Jaya is currently in 3rd spot. They have a games difference of +12. Klang United in 4th spot with a game difference of +10. So very close indeed. And how these games spread out could mean 3rd or 4th spot changing between them. Now, just to get you up to speed, Klang United, well, on the 28th of November, which is their first tie, they had a 13-8 win over Kajang. Then the next day, a 12-7 win over Jaya. That's how they got that +10 goal game difference, sorry. Ampang Jaya on the 27th, 15-9 win over Bangsa, and then on the 30th, an 8-14 win over Kajang. So both of them still yet to be beaten, and we'll see now from their strategies. Donald, what do you think of the strategies you've seen so far? And the words of the managers, of course.
Well, Yep Kim Hook is a doubles legend, so clearly in the way that the teams have lined up here, he'll be looking to get his points from his doubles players, and I'm sure he's been focusing on that. And this is a new name, Derek Wong, coming on for the singles, so let's see what he can do. I'm sure he'll be hoping for a surprise result against the more established player, but who knows what can happen. It's Purple League. A lot of the old rules are thrown out the window, so let's see what happens.
Definitely a power player can definitely have a greater chance against a positional player, and that's the one main difference I've seen between the experienced players and the younger players is, of course, experienced players know their way around the court. It's not just placing the shots in the opponent's court, it's following up those shots with exactly the right movement and hitting the 4 points of the court and covering it perfectly. The younger players seem to be a little bit more exuberant, especially if they're on a points run, lose a bit of that positional play, leave the spaces for the experienced players to kick off. But I was famously wrong about Lee Hyun-il. He lost the game to a 19-year-old, so yeah, I'm going to go with you on this as we look at Mohammed Aziz Salman, our service judge. I mean, Stephen Ong is in the umpire chair. And can you see young Derek Wong here taking anything away from the great Sonny Dwi-Kunchoro?
I think it's a tough ask, but if he keeps his shots precise, he moves well, moves in a compact way, and then critically gets the attacking right. If you attack at the right time with the power and the force, then any player can be overcome. It's noticeable. Sonny's put on a strap to his back, so maybe over the course of the match that might come and have a place.
Well, what you were saying was very true. Darren Isaac Davidas of Puchong United the other day played, and I don't know if you saw this, he played a jump backhand cross-court smash from right to left. it was blind as well. It was perfectly to the right corner, and as I said then, even Lin Dan would not have been able to receive that or return that. He jumped. Some reason it was absolutely perfect, so you know the crowd loved that as well.
Well, there's an element of hit or miss of these types of shots, but really it's great when they come off. And again, it's another aspect of the difference between European and Asian badminton is the Asian players are more willing to take these kind of risks, and if they pay off, then they get a big cheer and a winning point.
Now, of course, Sonny Dwi-Kunchoro, this is not going to be the biggest stage he's been on. He's a silver medalist at the World Championships in 2007, Olympic Games, of course, 2004. Silver medalist also in the Sudirman Cup. I mean, those 3 tournaments alone should be enough experience. But as I said, this is a different court. It's more colorful. It's closer to the fans. It's meant to produce a different kind of element of badminton. And if your game is based around a 21-point, positional training, traditional, I like to call it badminton format, you're right, you can be upset by a fast power player who's accurate, and that's the thing.
And Derek's got to keep that in his mind and keep focus on the positive aspects of what he can bring to his game, and try and upset a little bit the more experienced player.
Yes, it is a shame though. Sometimes you have seen some of the younger players just be run around the court, and you actually see their heads dropping because it's so difficult to just reach those spaces. We're about to get underway. Our first match of our first tie today, Klang United versus Ampang Jaya. Sonny Dwi-Kunchoro in the forecourt in the red, and Derek Wong in the far court in the white and red. And immediately we start off with, well, experience. There you go, reading the baseline. Now that has been identified, Donald, I'm sure you've seen it as the drafty side of the court. That top corner especially, but now it looks as if it's pretty much that entire right side. A lot of shots have not been going in for them.
Both players just finding their range, I think, in the early exchanges.
Yeah. Well, Sony definitely found his range there and into that troublesome corner as well.
That's a very tight drop from Sony, which led to the lift from Derek, and then easy smash down the line.
And that's the problem some of these youngsters have been finding, is that they're just forced into basically replying with a couple of shots, and those shots are essentially served up on a platter. Well, that's the first thing that Sony's dealt with, and it's followed up with the other thing we see from a lot of the younger players: no fault of their own, unforced errors. Sometimes they do creep, and in the same way you can win 11 points quickly, you can lose 11 points very quickly as well. Sony so far has been pretty much perfect. But I think you know, we could sit here and literally wax lyrical about Sony Dukinchuro for the whole day. What we should take from that point was some very good movement from Derek Wong, and he was trying his best to push Sony around the court.
Didn't take any chances, kept it consistent, and ended up Sony making the mistake.
Yeah. But he needs to just wrestle back as he gets serve. He's not afraid to play that smash.
Good smash.
It's a good smash as well. Nice jump on it. Picked it up at the peak. Good angle.
Got round behind it. Powerful enough to overcome.
And again, he did force that opportunity in a sense by just keeping that rally going. It's always good when you're just talking about experience versus youth, and then youth catches up with experience in the first 8 points. And that's exactly what I was talking about beforehand. It didn't quite work out for him before, but he found that going deep and then suddenly going short.
Very nice drop there. Sony needs to chase down those a little bit quicker.
He's not currently centered on that tee the way he'd like to be. He is at least being pushed around enough by Derek Wong. And that one gets called out, but I think we all knew the idea behind it. So far, it's been a nice, solid game. And any unforced errors that have decided any points have been down to, and there is the unforced error tally right now, 4-3. It's been down to just a good manipulation of the shuttle so far. Something you'd expect from Sony, and you probably would expect from Derek. And he's showing no fear here.
Very, very athletic jump smash from Derek. He gets behind it, takes advantage of the forced lift by Sony, drills it down the line.
He's looking extremely comfortable right now. And again, forcing that power.
7-5.
It's a real signal that Derek can do something here.
Well, as we were saying, and I'm really glad this first game was just exemplifying everything we did say, but you know, in the 11-point format, Derek does have absolute gold chance here. Lucky return there.
Beautiful cut shot there, beautiful.
I don't think you'd be training to have your back at the net at any point. I'm sure that was just a reflex back, very
I
well
can tell
done.
you getting to those types of shots is a singles player's worst nightmare.
I'm sure. And then repositioning yourself afterwards. Well done here. Well done, Derek. And so, game point. And well executed as well, his strategy so far. So we saw Lee Hunil with the game taken off him. Now about to see Sony Dweekanchura also possibly with a game taken off him. Immediately, this is not what Ampang Jaya were looking for. Would have liked to have their 10-point haul, 10-game haul. 6 probably coming from their first 2 singles matches.
6-10.
Now, this is of course where we see the other side of the game. Can experience pull this back? No. Well.
That's very well played by Derek there. I think that both players started in quite a cagey way, but Derek seemed to warm up faster and start to move a lot better, which gave him the advantage on the smash. Let's see what happens in the second game.
Yeah, I think we also, we've seen a great many faces of Sony Dweekanchura over the last decade or so. I don't think he expected to have to use second gear in that first game. He looked like he was just about kicking in at the end, but there were a lot of points where it was almost like a deep trap that was caught. He was caught running back to the net a great many times, and that's where Derek really forced his points out.
It's very noticeable the quality of Sony's net shots, however, so I think he'll be looking to try and build upon that as a positive to take out the first game, and if he can get the movement up, then let's see what happens.
Now, of course, with the overall league format in a player's mind, after all the orders and all the training and all the advice, if you're going to win 3-love or 3-0 in your tie. If you're going to lose 3-2, because you're still giving a gift back to your club with those 2 games. So essentially just play as hard as you've ever played. One's wide from Sony, so Derek again playing very high, keeping Sony just ahead of that baseline. Now that's a jump smash of an experienced player indeed.
2-1.
It's precise and it's straight to the back of the court. Very difficult to get that back.
So, is Sony going to shift up to a power game as well? By the looks of it.
3-1.
It's a half-court clear from Derek. Punished by Sony.
And obviously he's got to watch out for that. The dangers of playing such a high line. He's trying to force the point by essentially standing high mid-court, leaving himself very open to those left and right corners, and of course those kills at the net. Sony's definitely upped the power.
5-1.
See how Derek deals with the onslaught. It was expected, of course, by taking the first game. This is one of the parts of the game that these youngsters will develop over the months.
Service over. 2-5.
That was a good response.
Service over. 6-2.
Again, a deep clear for Sony. Derek's doing a fantastic job of playing the backcourt line right now.
Service over. 3-6.
Well taken indeed. Confident.
6.
I think Derek's really showing that he's got the weapons to punish Sony if Sony doesn't play precisely right with a polished game. So it'll be interesting to see how this develops.
Service over.
We won't be able to stop all of those.
4.
Again, Sony just picking the points in the court. That one is in.
Service over. 5.
He was just moving left to right so quickly there. That was line to line. Just in. Again, he's just picking his points very well.
Very nice shot there. He just reached up, got a hand on it, and with the power of the wrist, put it to the line. Sony will be pleased with that one. Puts him 8-5 ahead.
Well, they do have this ability to fix make minor corrections to their game, which can result in points, and that's the most important thing. And we saw it, as I said, in the Lee Hyun-il game as well. We've seen it in a couple of other games where big stars have come out, taken a little while to warm up, possibly lost the game, but in the second game, look a lot more solid. Definitely 9-5 now.
10, game point 5.
In terms of the tie, this is going to tie everything up. Should Sony win this point.
Service over. 6.
Beautiful net
10.
shot there from Derek. That's textbook stuff.
Let.
So low over the net. Wonderful. Sony forced into the only shot he could play, which was the high lift. And that was interesting, as Derek was literally controlling that point up to that unforced error. So he loses the second one 11-6. Mirrored scores, but of course in terms of career, not equal at all. So another interesting matchup has been provided by the Purple League. And of course what we're seeing now, Donald, is as we just look at some of the great placement from Sony, this is how you do it. All that space created on the right, make sure it's on the line. And you just saw Derek just hang there for a second looking at that shot. But as I was just about to say, now that Puchong and Moa City especially have come up with such aggressive strategies and have scored such incredible games differences, it's going to affect the strategies of all the other clubs now. They have to come out and win.
Yeah, I mean, and there was a lot of debate about the scoring format and what would happen if you had 5 points to 11 or 5 points to 7 has been talked about in the past, or 5 points to 5 games to 11, 5 games to 7, or 5 games to 15, or something like that. So, as far as I can remember, this is the first time that you have the top players trying it out, and the top managers as well. So, really, it's
a learning process.
Yeah.
Derek shows that
lovely shot there.
He can play the positional game as well.
It's good to see he's getting his confidence and he's getting the freedom of the movement, which is so important in badminton. If you're constrained or you feel like you're not stepping correctly, then it's difficult to get into the right positions to play the shots.
So far his movement has been That'd have been good. A couple of steps there, but apart from that, he knows exactly where he's going to be. Help rule. It doesn't matter how great you are. Sometimes you really just got to thank the net.
That's a bit of quality there to get that back.
Yeah. Look at that. Wow.
That's the closest I've seen a
That's
net
the
shot in Purple League.
And that might be the closest I've seen a net shot in a while, actually.
Thank you.
But definitely all the experienced import stars have not come here for training games. They've definitely been pushed already in the first week to playing, you know, some of their best badminton, which is great. There is, of course, a very special system in how these teams are set up. In terms of values of points, of course, it would be very easy just for a team to come out and play their foreign import stars in every single match and then win everything. So there is a value system that's attached to these players, which means that you can only play your foreign import stars once, possibly twice in a tie if you're really pushing it. But each foreign import star, the massive international stars, are worth 2 points, national players worth 1, and total unknowns worth 0. And your whole value for each team on every tie day has to be 6 points. So you can do the maths from that and realize that you can only play a big gun once. Now, Ampang Jaya played their big gun right from the start, and so far, look at that score, Donald.
It's neck and neck.
Yeah, it's not really as big gunnish as we would have expected, but that's down to a sterling effort by Derek Wong.
He's not being overawed at all by the occasion and giving as good as he's getting.
So remember, he was a quick revision as well, so you would have seen his name on the team sheet playing Sony Dweekanchura, and that's usually the point where you're going to get a little bit distracted. That one was a bit errant.
4-2.
But you've got to feel that if he takes this game as well, then he's got a very good chance of turning around. And Klang United, if they're going to take third spot from Ampang Jaya in the league, then they do need upsets. Cool denial from the net again.
Just played it too close. Derek is ahead on the unforced errors, but only slightly.
Yeah. Not by the margin you'd expect a younger player to be. It's only 5-2 up now. Still no answer to that smash yet.
It's a powerful body attack.
3-5.
Most difficult shot in badminton to return. Would you agree? You're a player, Donald. Would you say that the block, I suppose, from the center of the heart,
hard to return and control, I think.
Yeah, can be returned. That's right. It's all just your position after that might be a bit compromised.
Very hard to return when Derek's hitting it at you, Jeevan.
Well, even if you're Sony Dweekanchura. Good stuff from Derek Wong. He's got a solid shot that he's basing his strategy on in this game, but he's also been consistent enough in the other areas of the game. He's putting in a decent challenge. As you just said, can be returned.
Derek will be pleased with that. A nice deception to set up the poor return, which he's got the chance then to smash and win the point.
Wouldn't be surprised if all his smashes are now hit at the lettering on Sony Dweekanchura's shirt. That was always going to be a tough shot to come in backhand.
6-5.
Mid-court drive. Well, he's still very close. That one's out. So
7-5.
now Sony Dweekanchura has to tighten it up a little bit. got to those trouble points, 7, 8, 9. There's a smash again. If anything, he's getting even more confident with it now. And he's eked out a 3-point lead here.
Well, we saw this in some of the other games where the better player on paper lets the game go on, and the other player starts to get confidence, which gives them that freedom.
Well, that was up. Tried to switch it up from the power game to the net game. Still got 2 points to play with here, though. Oh, fantastic. That was really well done. As you said, for a youngster to pick a shot like that. Look at this drop shot here. So acute.
Well, that's what happens if you give one of these players an inch, then they can just drop it down like Sony's last smash there.
Which is again testament to what Derek Wong has done to be leading here 9-7 with 1 game apiece, because he's been minimizing the areas that Sony can aim at for a start. He's been keeping the shuttle nice and low. He's been forcing Sony into higher clears that he can smash down. So there's been a fair bit of control coming from the youth side of this match. And I like to think, I mean, you've got shot makers and you've got positional players. Pros and cons to both games. You have to learn both games, obviously. But I would like to think that the positional game first and then the power game on top of it. Now,
yeah, that's right, and it's also about the consistency of the shot making. I mean, the guys are spending hours and hours and hours to perfect their shots, so that when they're in the heat of the battle, like in a game like this, that they don't even have to think about putting it in the right place.
Yeah. Well, Sony was taking a risk by aiming for that corner. I can remember one clear winner he's had in that corner. Apart from that, he's not the only player to have had trouble with it. Now, game point. Derek Wong to take a 2-1 lead. And don't forget, if it's tied at 10 apiece, there is no playing to 2 points. It's 1 point, so it's game point for both players here. You'd have to say that Sony Dweekinshaw probably needs it more. Wow. You could tell from the way he was moving forward towards the net that he wanted that point.
Very, very solid return there under pressure.
So once again, the experienced champions have shown that they know how to turn things around, they know how to switch things up, they know how to put pressure on acute points, and as we saw in that last point, if he wants to win it, he can. But look at this fantastic positioning from Derek, and then a return that just puts the pressure straight back on him, and all of a sudden he's caught in the trap. And that trap that's played so well by the likes of Lin Dan, Lee Chong Wei, all of them, that movement trap, and as soon as you get caught in it, you can run as much as you like, essentially. But let's not forget that he did try at the beginning of that point to at least wrest control of it, which was...
Yeah, and when the legs get tired, then the position doesn't come, and that's when the bad shots start happening. So controlling the court is one of the most important elements of singles badminton.
It is such a different pattern of play to doubles, of course. We've got a couple of singles matches, then men's doubles and the mixed doubles. Fast-paced, explosive action. Tony Dweekinshaw 2-1 up, but by the slightest of margins.
Service over. 1 love.
Good defense from Derek under sustained pressure there.
Well, he was dealing with the pressure that Sony was putting on him. Back clear just maybe a foot long. And I'm sure you're going to see a combination now from Sony Dukinchura of outright winners and forcing the errors. But he may, especially on that backhand side,
Service over.
commit his own.
2 1.
But he's in no way having it easy, is he?
Well, I was more aggressive on the last point, but you just sense there's still that little bit of constraint in the movement from Sony, which
Do you think it's the back? Do you
affecting
think
him.
it's
Maybe we saw him put the strap on before the game, so.
We have already seen a couple of injuries.
3
One
1.
definitely was quite serious for Adrianti Fedasari, where she had to play the last 2 games of her match, with one immobile leg, essentially, and she still took it to 10-9 in the 5th as well.
Service
That was
over.
a real battle of attrition, and she was very unlucky not to
Fantastic.
get a reward for that.
She was playing just pure positional badminton. She could not move at the end of it. You'll be happy to know that we've seen smiling pictures of her in the last couple of days, so well, she's all right. It's another thing these players are going to have to deal with over the 3 months. Just like any other league system, injuries, fatigue,
3
your fitness
all.
and your training is going to come into it. You're going to have to really pace yourself. Now, we get back to the game. It's still level pegged, 3-all. The unforced error is just creeping up for Derek there. And of course, don't forget, he lost that 3rd game by 1 point.
Service over. 4 3.
That looked like an unforced error, but really it was such a quality net shot. It was very difficult.
Yeah.
Service over.
Now he's finding a bit of trouble. If there's any weakness we've found so far in Derek's game, is on the left side of the net there. He maybe just clips it a couple, 2 times. He's far more happy with jumping and smashing, obviously, picking his spots. There you go. Well
Service
done.
over.
Went left.
5 4.
Found the space right. He's already moving back.
Yeah, nice attack.
I wonder if Sony Dukinchura is
Derek.
wondering as to whether he expected this kind of aggression. It says a lot, of course. As you said, they're always used to playing the same players, and you know, as they go to the big tournaments. So now, Derek Wong, not really the kind of person he'd expect to be playing. But in this format especially, he can't rely on those silver medals for World Championships and Asian Games. A bit of frustration from Sony there.
Yeah, he wanted to do better on that one. It's now 2 points down.
I don't think he wants to take this to 5. Again, too much power on that. I suppose for the more experienced players who are kind of expected in a match like this to deliver at least a 3-1, going to 5, not really the best gift you could give to your club. Just a +1 gain. He's going to be looking to contribute at least 2. And that's going to be hard to do.
8 4.
Derek with a 4-point lead now. That was such a key point for him. If he'd gone to 9, this can be won back by Sony. I was just about to say, with a very aggressive pattern play, and what we saw.
Again, it was a superb net shot from Sony that set up the smash, which then puts Derek under pressure.
Now it's 2 points. It's down to 1. Again, you see this switch up of attitude from the experienced player. And used to winning points when they need to win points. But Derek still with a very good chance here. And that's helped him out a great deal.
9-7.
Critical point. And it's out. That was such an important point for Sony Dweekenchura. He's now facing game points for the second time. And he was just playing the power from mid-court pretty much, just picking his spot. Just making it very difficult to return. So he saved one of them. It's pretty obvious here, Donald, he doesn't want to lose this game.
Oh, he's definitely fighting hard. I mean, the last shot, it was a slightly softer smash that was just barreling down to hit the deck, and you saw Derek really struggle to get onto that. Again, that's the quality of an experienced player. They can vary the pace of their shot. They can hit a hard smash, or they can play it as a cut.
And they can disguise it. Yeah. Well, let's hope he can do that for a couple more shots, because he's put himself in a dangerous position here. All we need is one of these trademark Derek Wong smashes into the corner, if he can find the angle, and it's 2-all. Now, he didn't go for the smash, but he did hustle very well in front of the net. So, Derek Wong takes the 4th game and sets up an exciting finale in this first match of our first tie. It's the classic youth versus experience, and look at this. This goes to show that it's by no means a fluke that he's got here. Look at that. He went right, he went left, finds his spot.